Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this week's episode of the Hardwood Nation podcast with your boy CL Anthony and my main man Bryce Ward. What is going on, Bryce?
Same as every week until basketball stops. Working with a little bit of basketball I can watch.
Well, we got until June, so we still got a little while to go, and
Mhm.
we may have an NBA Finals rematch from a couple of years ago. We'll talk about that.
Maybe. Maybe.
It's not the one you think I'm talking about, though. Really quick. So this week we had some shenanigans earlier in the week that I want to touch on really quick because I wanted to get your thoughts on this Draymond Green suspension, the 1-game suspension. Now Golden State was able to survive the next game; they beat the Sacramento Kings. But how did you feel about the actions that? How do you feel about what led up to Draymond stomping on Sabonis's chest and then the suspension? How did you feel about all of that?
So definitely when I saw the clip, I was like, this is just Draymond doing Draymond things. But to his credit, Sabonis did grab his foot. Right?
Mm-hmm.
That's what it appeared to look like. I would say Sabonis grabbed his foot. So I get Draymond's like odd movement and reaction because I've been in that situation where you try not to put your foot down fully and you kind of look weird, just trying not to fall basically.
Right.
But here's the thing about past behavior. People don't want to give you the benefit of the doubt. So even though Sabonis shouldn't have grabbed his foot, it looked like Draymond was trying to save himself somewhat. It still looked like Draymond tried to step on him. So it's just one of those things where it's like, maybe if this was his first offense, then maybe I don't do anything like that. Maybe you just fine him or something. Like, I don't know. You chalk it up to more accident, and it's like I don't know. You just do whatever you want to do. But since it's Draymond and he has a habit of these types of weird physical contact shenanigans, it's hard to say, it wasn't the right call. But a suspension, I don't know if it called for that. I'm just saying the whole thing looked weird. Definitely Sabonis shouldn't have grabbed his foot. And definitely I've been in a situation like that. But it did seem like Draymond still added a little. And it's Draymond. So it's like, I don't really know what's real with him and what's not. So I don't know if the suspension I would have went through with, but definitely like I don't know if he's innocent at the same time. You know what I mean?
But there are some other shenanigans too. That Doc Rivers actually spoke on where people were trying to tempt Joel Embiid into retaliating against other players because some people thought Joel should have been suspended for what he did, and then he ended up getting hurt, so now he's out. So,
Yeah.
but Doc spoke on that, and it's a very slippery slope because I don't remember if Sabonis was given a technical or not. Both of them should have gotten technicals. I know Draymond was thrown out of the game. That's fine. What I didn't like about the suspension was this. For one, because Draymond had to put his foot somewhere. Did he put a little extra on it? Yeah, he did. He put a little extra on it, but he had to put his foot somewhere, right? There's no avoiding that outside of him getting injured, trying to avoid Sabonis, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the NBA ought to be ashamed of itself. And let me say this, because they tried to do an old trick where they tried to drop the suspension overnight. They dropped that suspension at like 11:30 p.m. So people were waiting all day to see what the fuck they were gonna do, and then they drop it at 11:30 p.m. and then it caught fire. It's like, if you knew you were gonna do that, don't wait so fucking late to do it, because no matter when it drops, it's gonna catch fucking fire. So they tried that old trick, dropping big news overnight. Nah, everybody was up. We was watching basketball, so yeah, we were all up. We saw it, so I didn't like that part about it because they kind of let it drag on longer than what it should have. But should he have gotten suspended? I don't know, because if I'm him, and that wasn't the first time Sabonis or a Sacramento Kings player had actually, pulled on Draymond in this series. That's like this like the third time it's happened. So I probably would have put a little sauce on it too. That's just me, trying not to be a hypocrite, of course, because Draymond is Draymond. And I love Draymond, but like you said, there is something to say about history and things of that nature. So, moving right along, Bryce, we have some finals to get to. That happened yesterday. So we're going to talk about those, and then we're going to work ourselves backwards. So, where am I? We knew the Brooklyn Nets, despite the fact that they were competitive, we knew they couldn't deal with the Sixers. So the Sixers wrapped that up yesterday, 4-0 sweep, which is good because that gives Joel Embiid time to heal that knee of his. Any thoughts on the Sixers finishing off the Nets?
Nope. That one was one of the calls I got right this week.
Yeah, pretty uneventful series. In the late game last night, the Los Angeles Lakers held off a strong rally by the Memphis Grizzlies in the fourth quarter, led by Ja Morant, who I believe ended with 42 points in his return game back. But the Los Angeles Lakers, who have home court, by the way, are leading 2-1 with home court advantage. How much trouble do you think the Memphis Grizzlies are in right now?
I think it's worse than probably they think. They probably have more belief in themselves, but I think the series is over. Especially, it's not just LeBron, but look at AD's stat line, and AD was, just abusing them. And if no one can stop him, then if he's on the court, if him and LeBron are playing the game fully, the rest of the guys just have to do their normal stuff, and I think they close out the series. I don't think maybe Memphis probably gets another. You think Memphis gets another 2 games? Because I would say I feel safe giving them 1.
Another 2 games would mean it would go 7.
Right.
I would give them another game. It says it goes 6. I think the Lakers are going to wrap this up in game 6. This was a prediction that I will say I got right. I said Memphis is soft in the middle. I said Anthony Davis was going to have a strong series, per him being healthy, of course, which he's doing. Which that could change any minute now. Let's just be real. It's Anthony Davis, right?
Any play.
I literally thought LeBron was going to drop 50 on them last night because of what Dylan Brooks said the game before. Because we know one thing about LeBron. He will respond on the court, not off the court. He will respond on the court to bullshit at times. So Dylan Brooks was out of line. With those comments. 2, I really thought LeBron was going to just, for one night, just go absolutely ham on them. And then Brooks gets ejected last night for the nut shot. I'm just like, what the fuck? On LeBron James right after halftime. The dude,
I don't think LeBron respects that young guy at all. Like, LeBron doesn't, he truly doesn't care what he says. It's different than when, Clay said something about him. I think he's really not worried about that guy at all.
If you want to get respect in the league, and this is for any sport, but if you want to get respect in the league, you have to win. Even if you talk a good game, you still have to back it up with wins. The Memphis Grizzlies have yet to win a significant game with this core. They have yet to do that. And the Lakers were their worst nightmare matchup. So, yeah, we know Ja Morant missed, most of the first game, missed the second game. Now he's back for this game. We get that. Injuries are a part of the league. We get that. But still, they were able to beat the Lakers without Ja Morant. But the Lakers showed a lot of fortitude last night by withstanding that 42 points by Ja Morant. So, yeah, I think the Lakers are going to wrap this up in 6. Here it comes. So, in our final game from last night, kind of, sort of, the Miami Heat defended home court and torched the Milwaukee Bucks. Now, we will say Giannis didn't play fine. I give him that. But they torched us the game before without Giannis. So I'm going to ask you the same question that I asked you about the Memphis and the Lakers. With the Heat having home court by way of stealing game 1 in Milwaukee, being up 2-1, do you think the Bucks are really in trouble?
If Giannis doesn't play, yes. If Giannis plays, no.
Here's what I'll tell you. Giannis played most of the first half of game one. And the Heat jumped out to a big lead and never looked back. Game two, the Bucks jumped out to a big lead, never looked back. Game three was close for like the first quarter, then the Heat took off. The one, and this is coming from a basketball standpoint, not coming from like a Heat homer standpoint. The one advantage that the Miami Heat has is that they absolutely have no fear of the Milwaukee Bucks, whether if Giannis is there or not. So kind of like how the Lakers were a nightmare matchup for Memphis, the Heat are a nightmare matchup for Milwaukee. The Heat does not have this same bravado against Boston. Even though they beat Philly a lot, I don't think they have the same bravado against Philly. But there's something about the Milwaukee Bucks, and it's not a disrespect thing. It's not that. But it's something about the Milwaukee Bucks that the Heat absolutely has no fear of that team. And I think that's what they have in their advantage right now. So even if Giannis comes back, and God knows we want him to come back, we don't know how healthy he's going to be. Jimmy Butler hurt his tailbone yesterday. Jimmy Butler had 30 points and didn't even play in the fourth quarter. He hurt his tailbone last night, so now we got to see how he's going to come back. Of course, Tyler Hero is out. Of course, Kyle Lowry has been banged up, even though he had a decent game off the bench yesterday. So, I mean, everyone's injured, but I do understand the magnitude of player that Giannis is. My prediction of Heat in 6 stays. Milwaukee hasn't shown me that they can beat this team just yet. I haven't seen anything that stood out that says, hey, they can beat this team. The reason why the Heat are winning right now, like I said, one, because they don't fear Milwaukee, and two, oddly enough, last year they're the best three-point shooting team in the league. This year they were trash at three-point shooting, near the bottom. And now all of a sudden in the playoffs, they're banging threes again. So if they've refound that stroke, advantage Miami.
I'll say this though, like to me, my perspective is, it is something for like a Milwaukee opponent to not be afraid of them, but the Heat's whole persona is they're not really afraid of anyone. So you being a fan watching them, yeah, you might like this matchup for the Heat a little more than say up against a Philly or a Boston, but I don't think that team fears any of those teams. I mean, obviously, so it's like you still like just because the Heat don't fear Milwaukee doesn't mean obviously they can't still lose the game. But all your points are valid. I still think this is the toughest like matchup the Milwaukee could have gotten in the first round, and I still think that he could win if he doesn't come back, if Giannis doesn't come back and play significant minutes or whatever. So it's not like that surprising. You guys have a history with this team over the last 3-4 seasons. You know them very well. I just thought in general it was Milwaukee's year if the team was healthy. So the Heat just happened to be round one of that, and you had a shakier year. But I get what you're saying about the whole situation. But the Heat, to me, have that with any team in the league. They're just one of those teams you can't just come in and mentally beat or think you can roll over them. And they have that persona built into their identity. So, but we'll see. It's a good series, though. It just, I wish some guys were healthy. Tyler Hero breaking his hand's unfortunate, and hopefully we can get Giannis back.
Yeah, and one last thing I want to say about this particular matchup. If Milwaukee was playing anyone else, and Giannis was healthy, of course, Milwaukee was my favorite to get to the finals. The Heat were at the bottom. Again, the two things are connected. The Heat was at the bottom of the league as far as scoring this year, all connected to the three-point shots not falling this year. Okay, in this series, And we know the Bucks are a great defensive team. We know that. And not just with Giannis, Brook Lopez, Drew Holiday, Jay Crowder. They're a great defensive team. In 3 games, one of the lowest teams in the league is averaging 124 points a game against the Milwaukee Bucks. So it's a little deeper than Giannis not being there. The Heat are torching Milwaukee, absolutely torching them, and it all goes back to that 3-point shot, which is finally starting to fall. So today we have 4 games on deck. The New York Knicks and Cleveland Cavaliers. Knicks lead that series 2-1. Nick and Kenny will be at that game. I'm going to try to get pictures today. Game 2. Golden State's hosting Sacramento. Sacramento leads the series 2-1. Game 3. I do want to give Atlanta a shout out because I thought this was going to be a sweep. Atlanta stood up in game 3 and won the last game. Atlanta and Boston. Boston leads the series 2-1. And then on the nightcap, we have Denver and Minnesota. Let's just be real. Sorry, Minnesota. Who gives a fuck? Is going to be wrapped up tonight. All right. New York and Cleveland. What has stood out there for you?
I guess I thought Cleveland would do a better job of getting New York like out of their game and more playing Cleveland style, where it seems like it's more Cleveland being a little more responsive. And I saw Garland had a big game last. Was it last game or the game before? It was the one Cleveland won. Yeah. So I'm not really sure exactly what's going on there. I haven't got to watch those games other than just some clips and seeing what the people are saying online about it. So I mean, I'll probably get to catch that game today. So I'm excited about that because I really like that matchup. But I don't know. I know everything leading up to this, a lot of the Cavs' success seemed to be also tied to Donovan Mitchell having like monster games on top of everything else that team does well. And so far, just in the little bit I've seen, it just doesn't seem like Donovan is imposing his will the way he was before. And that might be a credit to New York and the style defense and what they're doing to throw Cleveland off. But like I said, I haven't got to watch the game, so today I'm excited I get to see it firsthand, see what's going on there, because I still believe Cleveland has the tools and is talented enough to put away the Knicks. But it just seems like right now the Knicks are making them play the way they want to play. And I'm blanking on the Brunson. Yeah, Brunson for the Knicks. Him and I'm blanking on all their names. The big man for the Knicks. The Kentucky boy. You know I know who he is.
You're thinking about Julius Randle.
Randle.
Drink some coffee this morning, okay?
Dude, I know. That's what I'm saying. As long as you have like a, but just between Randle and Brunson, they've got 2 like pretty good 1-2 punches, and right now they're playing the style they want to play. So kudos to the Knicks for actually, looking like they have some fire in them. Where a couple years ago it seemed like they got to this point and just kind of fizzled.
Right. It is something to behold, and I'll say this: the difference in this series is the backcourt, because as great as Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell are, they're a little smallish, and the Knicks are taking advantage of that and being more physical with them. Because Barrett's a big boy. Jalen Brunson's kind of a big boy, and then, of course, you have Randle out there. And even though Cleveland's front line is big, like I said, that backcourt is a little smaller, and that's where they're losing the series at. But like I said, I'm going to get with the boys, and hopefully we can I need to get with them soon, actually. Hopefully we can get some good pictures that I'll post on the Twitter if they let me. All right. Without Draymond Green, Golden State was able to win game 3 at home. Today they host game 4. Do you think Golden State ties this series up today?
Yes.
Ooh, spicy. I have to agree with you. this has all the makings of a 7-game series. So yeah.
But I will say this. I will say this. Those first couple games, I really thought Sacramento was going to show us is showing us something. Because we talk about every year these teams making the playoffs and kind of having to go through each round like year by year, proving yourselves, right? You can only get so far just because you haven't been there before. Sacramento takes 2 steps forward if they can get Golden State in the first round.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
That's not your first step. That's your first 2 steps. That saves you almost a year's worth of experience if you can pull that off. Now, I think I said I thought Golden State would pull this off just because it's hard to bet against Golden State. But I think if Golden State wants to win this series, they have to win this game.
Mm-hmm.
Because otherwise, they go down 3-1. I think it's too much for them. But kudos to Sacramento because they're really showing us something. I think if you weren't so involved with the Heat Milwaukee series, I think it's easy to say this is the most exciting round 1 series.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And kudos to De'Aaron Fox for winning Clutch Player of the Year, and also, of course, kudos to Mike Brown for winning Coach of the Year. Just amazing. Turned that culture all around there. So that was absolutely amazing. All right, so now we got Game 4 in Atlanta, Boston and Atlanta. Do you think Atlanta can find magic again and tie the series up?
I don't think so. I think, and to Atlanta's credit, I don't think they're terrible. I just think they're not great, and I think Boston is great. There's 3 teams that were great in the East this season, and it was Milwaukee, right, Boston, and Philly. Yeah. Boston's defending Eastern champs. I just didn't think Atlanta had the team to I don't think either one of us really thought that. So those first 2 games looked very good for Boston. I just don't see Atlanta. I mean, they might get one more game, but I don't really think so.
The winds of change are going to start flowing through Atlanta. Just know that. It's going to be some changes really soon.
Yeah.
All right. And does Minnesota have a chance to extend this series out, or do you think the Denver Nuggets wrap this thing up tonight?
They need to wrap it up. I mean, if they don't, it's not like Minnesota's winning this series, so they need to get some rest.
So
also, though, Minnesota is in the same situation, I feel like, as Atlanta.
Okay. All right, might be some.
I mean, you get blasted in the first round. I mean, I know you don't have Cat right now, but still.
No, he's playing. He's just not. He's playing. He's just not all together there.
Yeah, you can tell.
So might be some winds of change blowing through Minnesota as well. Look, they might pick up the phone and call each other. That called me. So the Philadelphia 76ers are the first team to advance. They're waiting on the winner. And by the way, this is doomsday scenario for these 2 teams facing each other so early, possibly. And I'm going to get into that later. They're waiting on the winner of Atlanta and Boston. So you may have Philly and Boston in a behemoth matchup in the second round. What you think Philly's going to do? Because Embiid's knee is hurt, but they're going to be well rested. They're going to have almost a week off, waiting on this series to be over with between Boston and Atlanta.
If Embiid's like at 80%, it's right down the middle, man. Because Boston's the better team, but Philly has a lot of weapons, and they're playing like the right way right now. They just look so. I mean, we knew they'd beat Brooklyn, but they're just dominant every night against. So they're doing what they need to do.
I know.
It's best case scenario. Whoever comes out of the Milwaukee Heat, Cleveland Knicks, because you're gonna get to the finals against one of the two teams, and they're gonna be tired from having to gone through the other one. So Boston and Philly are gonna wear themselves out.
Now, does my prediction last week make sense? I said if Miami can get through Milwaukee, Miami will go to the conference finals. That's what I said.
I'm going to laugh my ass off when I'm wrong with Cleveland and Knicks, and the Knicks knock you out.
The Knicks will not. The Knicks, how dare you? How fucking
that will piss you off more than anything if the Knicks get you.
The fucking Knicks will not be the team to take me out.
That's hilarious.
Fuck New York. I don't even want the fucking pictures from the game anymore today. Fuck New York. It's not going to happen. Miami Heat is going to go to the conference finals, and then it's going to be a toss-up on what happens there.
If you guys beat Milwaukee, that's a big if. Who would you rather
You're going to respect us, goddammit. You're going to respect us.
I'll respect you, but, I mean, I always do, but it's funnier this way to go this route. Who would you rather see win if you're the Heat and you beat Milwaukee? Who would you rather see, Cleveland or New York?
I want the New York Knicks for my soul. I need the New York Knicks. Okay.
Do you think Cleveland would be harder for you?
It's not about harder. It's about what I want.
That's what I'm wondering.
I want New York. Both teams will be hard because both teams are bigger than us, believe it or not. But I want the New York Knicks. It is time for retribution. I haven't forgotten 1998, 1999, 2000. I haven't forgotten those years. Yeah, we beat them in 2011, but that didn't matter. That team was trash. I haven't forgotten the other series. I want my retribution.
You know how the gods are. They'll give you Milwaukee, and then they'll get you clipped by the Knicks. All right, look, I didn't mean to get you so riled up. Who do you think comes out? I mean, do you think it's over, Phoenix and Clippers?
Damn, did we call that series? I missed that one. We didn't predict that one. Forgive me, I missed it.
No, you didn't.
So, with Kawhi not being there, luckily, I think Phoenix is going to move on because the Clippers, even though Westbrook had a great game last game, they just don't have enough firepower to contend with Kevin Durant going for 30, Booker going for 30. Like they can't contend with that without Kawhi, without Paul George. So reluctantly and luckily, Phoenix is going to move on. But Phoenix has not looked great in that series. What you have is two individual players standing out. But Phoenix as a whole hasn't looked great in that series. So it doesn't bode well for them because they will be looking at Denver in the second round.
And I'll say this. I think I picked Phoenix early to come out of the West. After this series, I think if they have to beat, I think Denver beats them in the next round.
Yeah, Denver's a lot deeper. I'm telling you, Phoenix gave up too much to get Kevin Durant. They gave up absolutely too much. And Phoenix needs, and don't get me wrong, Chris Paul's been playing okay, but don't get me wrong, they need Kevin Durant and Devin Booker to go ham every night for them just to have a chance to fucking win. I don't know. I don't know if they can sustain that against a team like Denver. So I'm gonna say my surprise matchup, and then we're gonna.
I know what you're talking about. Lakers and
my surprise NBA Finals
matchup. It could.
Rematch from the bubble. Heat, Lakers. I'm gonna get more retribution. You can book it.
That's your dream scenario, and like Pat Riley's dream scenario.
I've taken out the Bucks. I've taken out the Knicks, and you know for damn sure I want Boston in the conference finals. We're gonna take out the Boston Celtics, and then we're gonna take out the Los Angeles Lakers. Goddamn it!
First off, you guys are gonna be so tired from Bucks and Knicks that if you do make it to the finals, the NBA is gonna take it away from you and give it to Boston again. And even if you do beat Boston, you're going to get beat by either the Warriors, Nuggets, or Lakers. or Kings. I'm not sure who's coming out of that series. Kings.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think Kings have the momentum, but if Golden State wins this game, they win. I don't know. I know that's your dream scenario. I just think it's far fetched for the Heat to make it to the finals this year. I'll say that.
Realistically, I'm sticking with my prediction from last week. The Heat will be in the conference finals. I don't know how far they go, but they will definitely make it to the conference finals. So, if you guys love basketball, if you guys love us, please like, subscribe, and share our content. Drop comments below. We respond to them all. Please, please, please load us up with likes. And we are out.
See you.